Oh, hello there, and welcome to the Tank Encyclopedia. I heard you'd be interested in writing articles for our website, and we'd love to have you on board. Come on, let me walk you through the process and what happens. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. If you're wondering what the main qualifications are for a prospective writer, we don't ask for diplomas or such stuff. The things that make a great writer don't fit well into a CV and are best seen in practice. Mostly, what you'll need is a decent grasp of English, patience, self-motivation, a will to learn and improve, and taking criticism well. That's pretty much it. Everything else you can learn by doing, and we'll help you along the way. Because these qualities are best seen in action, the way we recruit is sorry, that came out a bit scary. It basically just means that you have to write an article going through the whole process to learn how it works. More importantly, it's a trial by fire for us as well, as you'll have the chance to figure out if you like the process and the rest of the team. Okay, first things first, let's find a topic for you to write about. Oh, no. We don't choose the subject of the article, you do. Because of the way we work and how important self-motivation is, it is always best if you write about the stuff that interests you, so you have almost full freedom to choose what you want to write about. Any armoured fighting vehicle works. In fact, let me dig around. Where was that bloody thing? Ah, here it is. Let me introduce you to the public suggestion list. This psychiatric asylum of a file lists about 9,000 topics that we or our audience have proposed for writing. There are probably some mistakes in there, but it's excellent if you want to go window shopping for something to write about. There's all kinds of stuff in there. Tanks, self-propelled guns, armoured cars, IFVs, engineering vehicles, prototypes, production, projects. Just take your pick. And if you'd like to cover something that's not on the list, by all means, go ahead. These are just suggestions, not in any way mandatory. Also, if you want to branch out from the actual AFVs a little, we also accept articles on other topics, such as other land military vehicles, anti-tank, or other types of land guns, doctrine, tactics, battles, unit histories, biographies, and technology. Take your pick. A word of caution, though. Picking the right topic for a start is very important. We strongly advise you to avoid vehicles for which there is either very little information or too much information. We know you're probably enthused about the big ticket vehicles, but those are honestly hard to write about, and are even daunting for our veterans. Once you get stumped with sources that contradict each other, having more questions than answers, or God forbid, falling down a rabbit hole, such a big topic can quickly become intimidating, and we don't recommend them to first-timers. Our current team manager's first attempt at writing an article was the A30 Avenger, which is a horrible combination of a vehicle that was in production, saw service, and has very little and poor information publicly available. Suffice to say, even he, who is an excellent researcher and writer, put it down and still hasn't picked it up. On the opposite end are vehicles for which there's not much info, if any, which can be similarly problematic because they are hard to figure out. Such articles are also far more dependent on your wider historical knowledge, such as historical context, contemporary tech, design practices, and doctrine, because you'll need them in order to piece together whatever was happening. The only rules we have about choosing a topic are to have a single vehicle type per article and separate variants as much as possible. For example, we no longer have a big article on the Panzer IV, but many smaller ones for each Ausf. It makes for easier and more focused research, writing, and then lecturing. Another example would be the KB4s, for which we chose not to have a single article for all designs, but each design on its own article. Take your time picking your topic, it's quite important, and don't be afraid to get in touch with us to discuss these, we will gladly help. Now that you have what you want to write about, time to get the nitty-gritty, research. What you want to do is go on the internet and track down every single source that talks about your topic. Our usual rule is that magazines are generally better than websites, books being better than magazines, primary documents better than books, and photos better than everything. If you're having trouble tracking down certain information, don't be afraid to email authors, publishers, libraries, archives, companies, or even armies. Sometimes they reply and hand you golden information. Also, let us know if you're having trouble getting books or magazines. We have ways of obtaining what you require. Also, and this is tragic sometimes, sources in the native language of the country that built or used the vehicle are very valuable, despite the occasional language barrier. If you're having trouble with a foreign language, let us know. We have team members from a lot of countries and can help out. And if worse comes to worst, DeepL, Google Translate, and ChatGPT, while not ideal, are not that awful at translations. After you've acquired your sources, the first thing you should do is to make a list of them all, as they'll have to be added at the end of your article. Also, it's best not to lose them, lest you have to get the shovel out to re-find that one reference on some obscure website that requires black voodoo magic to find. But now, it's time to read them and try to make sense of what is happening. Do note that sources sometimes contradict each other, and it is important to present those instances in the article. There are also cases where the sources don't mention more important aspects, and that also has to be included in the article. Just because we can't find some information, we don't just get to skip it. We have to say that, well, we tried our best but couldn't find anything. And finally, and most importantly, sources sometimes make sketchy or even wrong claims, and if you catch those, it's important to mark them out. Like, yeah, it's great to give the correct information in your article, but it's even better to also present the wrong information and state why it's wrong. Now that you've read all your sources, compared them, and found the best information possible, and boy oh boy is that easier said than done, it's time to get to the writing. The writing part is a bit that you love or hate, with some people genuinely enjoying writing, sometimes at the expense of research, and others absolutely loathing it. Nonetheless, it has to be done, so onwards and upwards. Open up a Google Docs document, it's free and has great team sharing tools, and let's go! First things first, the article needs a structure. Our usual standard contains the following sections: introduction, context, development, design, variants, exports, service, and finally, a conclusion. Now, these are not mandatory nor set in stone and depends a lot on the vehicle you're writing about. If you're writing about a paper project, well, it's a good guess it didn't see export or service, so those sections can be omitted. Similarly, if you have a lot of information, you can take some of these sections and split them into multiple subsections. Design usually gets split into armament, protection, mobility, crew, and others, but you can do the split as you see fit. While the structure is flexible, it is important to set one for your article, as it'll provide the skeleton on which you can do the writing. If you have any doubts about how to structure your article, let us know and we'll gladly help you. There's also a rookie guide that I'm just going to leave in the description for you to check out if you want to. For the writing itself, we have a writing and editing guide that contains a lot of boring specifics of writing. Capitalization, hyphens, Oxford comma, yada yada yada. Check it out at some point during the writing. It is quite helpful to know how stuff is done, and it's really good practice for real-world writing jobs. You'll also need pictures in your articles, and for that, you can get pretty much anything you can get online or from books, magazines, whatnot. Because our articles are free to read, free to access for everyone, we fall pretty squarely in the fair use categories, as long as we don't overuse a single source for images. The images you put in your article need to have three things: a caption, a source, and an Imgur link. Yeah, unfortunately we are currently using Imgur to host most of the images on the website, which I'm sure will never come back to bite us in the arse. And finally, you need a specifications table. There's a standard that needs to be present. It's in the rookie guide, but you can go above and beyond if you have the information available. And now look upon all that you have made and see that it is good. With a pleasant feeling to have come through all those efforts to now have your first article, you should be proud of yourself. And now, it's off to the butchers with it. Every article that gets published nowadays in the Tank Encyclopedia has to be greenlighted by at least 2 editors. Now, don't worry, the editors are super nice and helpful. They'll assist you with grammar, structure, some historical fact-checking, and even new research directions. At the end of the 2 checks, your article will be in the best shape possible. Oh wait, what big scary coffin are you talking about? Oh, that old thing. That's just where we keep our vampiric former overlord. We still use him to proofread articles. No, don't worry. Those are extra heavy duty chains. They'll hold. Just don't make eye contact and stay an arm's length away and you'll be fine. He can grow on you after a while. At the same time as your article is going through editing, we will also start the illustrating process. Oh no, you don't have to do the illustration, we'll handle it. But we will greatly appreciate help with making a reference sheet for the artist and helping get all the details right. Unfortunately, illustrating can sometimes take an absurdly long time, but we do our best to get all articles out the gate. When both editing and illustrating are done, we move on to the final phase, scheduling and publication. There is a schedule according to which the articles come out, and your work will rightfully take its place there. One of our team members will transfer your article to the website, and we'll add your name among the authors on the website, which will feature at the top of the article. If, for any reason, you don't want your real name up there, we can accommodate, but please, make it a credible pseudonym and stick to just one. And congratulations! You set out to do a difficult deed well, and you have delivered it to its satisfying end. Revel in your feat. Oh, yeah, let's talk about money and compensation. The short of the matter is that, unfortunately, there is none. The long of the matter is a bit more complicated. Unfortunately, as things currently stand, the website does not earn any money. Quite the opposite, it's bleeding a bit. What comes from ads goes to hosting and maintenance, and frankly, there's nothing left after that. What saves our asses are YouTube and the magazine, and not only do they cover the other expenditures of the website, such as illustration, porting, etc., but they also pay the writers if their work gets used. Simply put, if you manage to convince the YouTube manager to make a video out of your article, you get 20 euros for that. If you manage to convince him to make more than one video, like the Tankergrad dude did for the T62, you get 20 euros for each video. The scriptwriter also gets 20 euros, and if you're so inclined to do the script yourself, you get those funds as well. Similarly, the magazine pays 30 euros per article. And yes, we do know that these are significantly under market rates, but we're not a company. We don't make a profit. We're not competing on that market. We're a bunch of amateur maniacs who do this because we like it. If that's enough for you, join us. Also, if you want to see our finances, you can. They're public. I'll put a link in the description. And that's it. If you're interested in joining us, just get in touch and we'll smooth things out from there. And if not, I hope you found this little peek behind the curtain somewhat entertaining. If you do like what we're doing but can't jump in to write, maybe consider a small donation, recurring or not, through Patreon, PayPal, or even YouTube if that's your jam. All the best, and until next time, keep us in your sights.